Script started. Dependencies loaded. Booting Series 13 of the Year of Shame Challenge. Please wait.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of season 13 of the Year of Shame Challenge podcast. We're at the end of February, just about to enter the month of March. I'm Paul, and I have with me Brian. Say konnichiwa, Brian.
Konnichiwa. Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning.
Very good. Ben, say hello there, Ben.
Hello, how you doing?
All good. So what have you guys been up to? You been up to much?
Not a lot this month. I've been off ill with pneumonia, but let me see. I went to get my driver's license renewed, which in Japan involves about 3 or 4 hours of work. 4 hours, just turning up for a meeting for 2 hours, watching it all in Japanese, having no idea what they're going on, and watching lots of videos of people having accidents, real accidents, and then having a test at the end in Japanese and using Google Translate to try and get through my test. And that's about the highlight of my month, to be honest. Tomorrow I'm going cherry blossom viewing because they're just starting to come out. The weather here has been I think it's been about max of 8 degrees for the past week, but today it's going to be 20 and 22.
Oh,
tomorrow.
nice.
Yeah, and then Tuesday we've got snow, so it's really fucking weird. The cherry blossoms are apparently opening up, so it's the season starting now. So hopefully we'll be able to go and view them tomorrow. Well, that's about it, really.
Does the weather jump around that much normally from being that cold to that warm? I mean, obviously this week here has been it's been 3 degrees, 4 degrees, and up to 11, the balmy heights. But that's quite a jump.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's normal. It's normal for me because it's happened for the past 2 or 3 years. But I don't think it's typically normal here. La Nina is apparently affecting the weather here, so snowfall has been huge. About an hour and a half north of us in the mountains, they've had over 23 feet of continuous snowfall. So the snow doesn't melt, so it's just snow on top of snow on top of snow, and it just keeps building. So a lot of the houses up there have 2 front doors. They've got one on ground level and then one on the next floor up, because when snow hits, they need a different door to get out of the house. You don't see the bottom of the house anymore. So there's a famous photograph of a playground with a children's slide, and they've got one at ground level, and the slide, it must be 10, 15 feet in the air where it ends. So during winter, the children can slide off and land in the snow, but you can't use it during the summer. It's really weird. But they'll be having more snow again next week. They have 2 or 3 feet of snow a day. It just happens. And we were up there once, and you just see cars disappearing. You come out in the morning and there's no cars. Car park looks empty, but it's just all under snow. Crazy weather.
That is nuts.
That's about the only other things. I'm hoping to meet Stuart Ramage from the Midlife Gamers group. He's flying in from Australia.
Oh, cool.
And next week, the week after maybe. We're trying to sort out dates and times at the moment. So he's coming over with work. And Dwayne, also from the group, flew in 2 weeks ago. He flew in, but we didn't get to meet up. He went off with his other friend to Disneyland, so I didn't get to see him.
Oh, very nice.
But yeah, he was down skiing in a very, very expensive posh area up north as well. That was it. That's basically all the news here. How about you, Ben?
Nothing spectacularly exciting. It's just been all over the place this month. I think February, just the year's hit with a bang, I think, to be honest with you. Lots of stuff going on with work. I've said before, I'm on a big business trip next month for my first sort of big product release for the job I've been in for just under a year now. So I've got to head off to Anaheim for a week. So it's been all sort of hands to the pump on that, extra hours, panicking about getting stands delivered in time and all this kind of thing. So that's been most of it. Outside of that, I've just been spending time family-wise. Played a lot of board games, I think, this month, and we got loads of them for Christmas, working extra ones, late Christmas presents, which were called now Inside or something, escape room. So there are 3 escape rooms per box, and we've been playing stuff like that. What else have I done? Spent a lot of time on public transport due to work, about 3-4 hours a day, so I have been absolutely smashing Steam Deck solidly, which has been pretty good fun, to be honest. So noise cancelling, headphones on, ignore the universe, play some Bastion, so that's been pretty cool for me. Other than that, not content with just shed loads of money on computer games. Normally, I asked to go to the Bristol Hi-Fi show with my friends last weekend as well, and just terrified me at how much hi-fi. So my bank is happy that I managed to walk away from that without spending far too much money. So hopefully a little bit of this is rubbing off my ability to buy things I don't really need. I did go into a room and find a set of £164,000 speakers and then just walked away very, very quickly for one set of speakers. That's absolute insanity. But very, very cool day. To see the stuff that's actually there now on the new tech was awesome. But you suddenly realise how just low level and poor you are versus some of these people. 10 grand backup power supply to go on the back of slightly better. Right? Yeah, that sounds great. Do you do that? You do that. Go ahead. I think that's pretty much it.
I was going to say, I feel really cheap because I bought IEMs for €100. So after your expensive hearing.
Like I said, they can get very serious with the hi-fi, can't they? With the different power supplies and valves and whatnot.
There was one of the demo rooms in there, a company called RAL, I think it was. All they do is they make massive subwoofers. That is literally their business. They had a huge setup with tube amps, these huge speakers, like 3-4-way units that were like about 150 kilos either side or something stupid. So they're monster things. And then they put stacks of 3 subs on either side of it as well. So it was like 7.5 kilowatts of bass, basically. They were throwing into this like big square room full of people. Come out the other side of it and you can't hear a thing. Your mind's just completely destroyed by the time you come out of there. But that sounds really good, though. We should. I don't know. We'll work out what we're doing in a minute. They got noise complaints off the stereo company below them in the room because it was too loud.
Yeah, them subwoofers, that's the thing. If you get a home cinema setup, it's the sub that creates all the neighbours' nuisance. You know, you hear that boom, boom, boom. That's the noise that travels through the room. I mean, I don't even have a sound bar or any kind of sound system because I'm concerned I would upset the neighbour with the bass.
Yeah, we got a sound bar with a small sub on it. I mean, that's crazily powerful. I have to admit, I am quite tempted to get some Bluetooth studio monitors now, so I don't want to go back to the whole big amplifier, spending a fortune, DVD decks, record decks, and that kind of thing. My house just won't fit it. But there's some really nice speakers. I sat and had a test on and had a chat with a guy for about 20 minutes. So about £400, I think they were, or something. They're really, really nice, but I've got to leave them for now. I can't do it. There's far too many more things to pay for this year. So otherwise 40th is top of the list on that. So I need to make sure that's done first. So had to be good and walk away.
You did the right thing. Ultimately, half the fun's in the wanting, I find, for most things. And next year there'll be something else that comes out that's probably even better. That's probably even cheaper as well. So
yeah, I'll go and buy the ones I want now second-hand because someone's finished with them. That's how I normally work with stuff.
Absolutely. Some of these guys buy them and they might run them for like, I don't know, 20, 30 hours and then they get the urge to go buy something new. One man's rubbish is another man's gold. I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I buy and sell things. And that's the way it is, you know. People get rid of perfectly good things unnecessarily, I find.
I mean, my hi-fi in the past, I had some really, really great stuff. So a really beautiful Marantz amplifier when I had a surround when we first moved into this house. The old house was set up a lot better for it. So here I just really couldn't set the speakers up. My best friend, Phil, who will probably end up being listening to this at some point. So thank you again for this, a long time in the future. But sold me a Marantz amp for a really, really good price years ago. And was a workhorse for like 12, 14 years. It was unbelievable. And I was so gutted to get rid of that, but I just had no way of using it anymore. Older stuff, it still works absolutely beautifully.
I watch a couple of, this is going to sound wrong, a couple of porn channels on YouTube. But porn is in PAWN. It's a buying and selling type of porn shop. And
move back in line a bit quick, hold on.
a lot of them... A lot of the hi-fi from the 80s and the 90s, people will buy them even if they're not working now because they're considered as like classics. Even some of the brands you might not even think are worth any good. Some of the boom boxes are worth good money. The Walkmans are worth good money. You know, it's all that stuff that you had as a kid that were probably thrown away or chucked in a loft if you're lucky is coming back around again. It's all worth good money. So yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go back to it one day, but I mean, I need to convince my wife we do actually need something better than a half decent sound bar and sub that works absolutely fine. Same as the TV still works fine. I'm working on that one first. We'll see where it goes. We'll go video before audio.
Generally speaking, I'm quite happy with headphones. You know, you can turn them up as loud as you like. If you're sat downstairs, it's not going to disturb anybody. Same in the bedroom as well. With the missus, when she goes to sleep, I'll put the headphones on and watch the TV. You know, that way, really, which I find's usually the best way to do it. You're not disturbing anybody. And I don't even have expensive headphones, but you can spend serious money on headphones again, can't you? So you can have that. You can have that hi-fi experience, but on a more personal level with a really good quality set of headphones.
Yeah, there was sets at that show like into thousands, 4 or 5 grand for a set of headphones. The medium sets were like around £600-700. Sound fantastic, but again, I just can't bring myself to spend that. I got a pair of, I think it was Soundcore Q30s or something, which are noise cancelling ones. All the feature set of like a £300 set, but they're like £85, and they were on offer for 55, I think it was. So I just went for it. And they're phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, some people would probably just laugh off them being good at all. But the reviews have been, I'm well chuffed. So it works for me.
Absolutely. And I guess it's a little bit like a graphics card. And like if you went and bought one of the RTX 5070s or whatever, it's probably going to do absolutely everything you need it to do. And the 5090 is going to be overkill. Probably same with these headphones. Probably once you get over a certain price bracket, the difference between £100 headphones and the £300 headphones might not even be that great. And once you probably get into the £300 bracket, can you tell the difference between the £300 ones and the £5,000 ones? They're probably just made out of better materials. Probably some real gold on there or something,
Yeah, some of it's spectacular. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if you have a chat with some of the people who build these things and see the technology into it, and just I think it's the design work that's put into kind of the audio channels, the kind of the bass feeds, everything in it, how they're put together. The ones we saw, there were some speakers, and they're just beautifully crafted, absolutely immense. But you're paying for the privilege of someone specifically sitting and hand building these speakers for you. You can understand it from that perspective, but just pockets aren't deep enough, sadly.
No, but it's nice to go around these sorts of shows and admire what is available.
Yeah.
And in another 5 or 10 years' time, it'll just be consumer level, really. Maybe not the quality. Well, probably potentially the quality, but the actual audio will be perhaps in 5 or 10 years. It'll be just you'd be into your £85 price bracket again for whatever they're selling at £5,000 now.
I will sit and wait and collect dust and save some money until that point, as I always do, I think.
That's amazing. I've had a bit of an odd month, really. Everything seems to have been technical issues. We had an issue with a new TV that we bought, which had dead pixels on it, which had to go back, which was a pain because you had to take it all the way down the stairs and all the way back up the stairs initially, and the old TV and up and down the stairs because we've got there's like 2 levels to the house. On the top floor is the bedroom, and so taking it all the way up the stairs is a real pain. Anyway, that got sorted out, and we had a problem with our robot vacuum cleaner. That had to go back, but we got a replacement for half the price, exactly the same one. In fact, it was one model up, but the same brand, etc. And then we had a problem with the dishwasher, which has started to rust, which was less than 2 years old and was made by Bosch, which is meant to be a good company. So yeah, a guy came out, it's got a 10-year rust guarantee on it, which all Bosch dishwashers have apparently. He just came out and he just replaced the metal part on the front, which was the main aluminium panel on it or whatever. But yeah, just like a week of sorting things out, we switched over electric as well to another company. Because I'm pretty tight-fisted when it comes to this kind of thing. I hate to spend more than I have to. And we've been using the Octopus tracker, which has been really good. It follows the market value of gas and electric each day, so you don't pay a standard rate. So that deal had ended. And the new tracker, which is the 2024 tracker, the calculation on there, or the 2024/2025, the way they calculate it is like, it's too expensive. So I went with another company called Tomato, which probably no one's even heard of, just to get it even cheaper again. And what a pain that turned out to be. They didn't switch over on the day. I had to contact customer services, and then they eventually did it again like a week later. And due to that as well, you can actually claim compensation from the Ombudsman, or via the Ombudsman. And they give you like £40 basically for any failed switchover or any delays to the switchover. So £40 off the bill as well, which is, I don't know, I'll probably have to debate it with them to get that out of them.
Get it, free takeaway. So.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I'd be too tight to do that. I'd be just... It's just some cheap electric to warm up some food, you know what I mean? So it's just been an odd month, really, a lot of these kinds of things. So, yeah, but have you been watching anything good? Have you been any movies or TV shows?
Well, I've been stuff. I think the problem is my wife and I start watching something and then we just end up binging it, whether it's kind of that interesting or not. So I think the last one we found was something called Final Table on Netflix, which seemed to be kind of an international cooking show, which, really shouldn't be that interesting, but we smashed through the whole lot. That disappeared. That was actually entertaining, to be honest with you. What's the other thing we watched as well? Oh, Bear Grylls did something on Netflix as well, where he took a load of celebrities to an island and challenged them to get out of his bear pit once a day or something stupid, and it was a lot of physical challenges against him. Surprisingly, a really decent show. It sounds like it'd be horrendous kind of thing, and I mean, you either got to have time don't have time for Bear Grylls as well. But it was a pretty well put together little show, to be honest. It was not bad to watch. It was good.
Everything seems to be on Netflix these days.
Yeah, literally everything. I nearly watched the Royal Rumble as well for WWF, but I just couldn't find the time to do it, frustratingly. Outside of that, we've been trying to catch up. We watched the first series of Clarkson's Farm, obviously years ago when it came out. We lived literally just down the road from his new pub and stuff, and we drove past. Oh yeah, we never finished watching season 2, so we picked that back up. So we're a million miles behind the curve on that one. But that's been good fun so far, actually, to watch. It's just easy watching on a Saturday morning. Outside of that, it's TV when you have a chance, really. Don't have a lot of chance because my kids steal the TV all the time in the Xbox.
What have you been up to, Brian? Have you been watching any good shows or any movies?
Okay, I started watching a show called The Night Agent, which I think has got 3 seasons. I've watched the first season, and it was just bland, boring TV. I shouldn't have kept watching after the second episode, but I did. I'm not going to watch anymore. I watched this new show out at the moment I think it's on BBC, called Prime Target. It's BBC, it's on. But it's, again, I don't know. It's a sort of conspiracy show, but it wasn't that good. I've watched the first season of Solo Leveling, which is an anime. That's been really good. I've been quite shocked how good that was. I've started watching season 2 of Arcane, another anime. That's a French-American anime. And then movies-wise, I watched a movie called The Instigators, which has obviously Casey Affleck and what's his name, Matt Damon in it. It's about basically a heist that goes wrong. As a Saturday movie, just to sit down and chill with, it's quite good. I liked it. I rewatched a movie called Manchester by the Sea, which is just a stunningly good movie. I recommend everybody should go watch that. And then the last thing, I listened to a podcast called The Habibis. It's 3 Arabic developers, or 3 game developers drinking Arabic tea. There's like Rami Ismail, I don't know if you know him, Osama Dorius, and Fauzi Mesmar. But Fauzi Mesmar is big into anime, so I was talking to him about his top 10 movies, and he gave me a list of his movies his top 10, and one of them's called Perfect Blue.
I've heard of that. It's one I've heard of. Never watched it.
Yeah, I watched that last night. I finished watching it last night. It's really fucking dark. Some movie star, or a pop idol, becomes a movie star and gets stalked and slowly goes crazy, and it is really, really dark. I wasn't expecting it to go that way, but it was quite good. I liked it.
It's quite an old film from memory. It's an older anime sort of thing, isn't it? I think a little bit. Am I right in saying that, or am I overbeing?
It is quite old. They made a movie based on it or around it as well. But the anime is quite. I always thought these animes were all about, like, I've seen Evangelion, and it's all about big robots or whatever and fighting. Some of the anime is quite seriously dark.
Yeah.
So that was quite good, that movie. But that's about all I've watched. I need to stop watching shit TV. So I watch a series, start watching 2 episodes, and I go, I'll finish this season and then I'll binge it. I just need to stop if there's 2 or 3 episodes that are shit. I'll just stop it altogether. I'd save a lot of time.
I mean, it sounds like you've got commitment behind it, which is good. So, I mean,
yeah, I need to become more. I don't know. Just choose things better.
Yeah. I mean, I keep thinking I need to watch more anime again after you said about it 2 or 3 times now, and I haven't watched anime in years. I used to absolutely love it. I think probably just kids being in the house and stuff, and most of it being not really suitable to watch around them, sort of thing, despite the fact it's a cartoon sort of thing, if you want to call it that. But I mean, I used to love the older stuff. I still think one of my favourite films, anime or not, from years ago is still Ninja Scroll. I absolutely love that film. I can watch it over and over again, and it's such a great movie.
Yeah, the guy that does, is it Howl's Moving Castle or something?
It's the Ghibli movies, is it?
Yeah. I mean, they should be sort of kid friendly. I imagine they're a bit potentially nightmare inducing, but I think they're kid friendly enough.
Shadowed Away and stuff like that, whatever it's called. Is it called that?
Yeah, I've got some of those that are lined up to watch as well, but I can't see it. I was told to watch. I work where I worked as a psychologist, and he told me to watch this anime. He said it's really, really good, and I said to him, "There's no weird shit." And I said, "Is there?" And it's fucking hell. It took me 3 weeks, and I still haven't even finished the first episode. It's really disturbing. It starts off with a doctor in a hospital, and he's got a 12-year-old patient of cancer dying, and this little girl she's in love with the doctor, and she's also in love with some pop idol. And he starts to follow the pop idol because the kid dies, and fucking hell, this is weird. The pop idol ends up in his hospital, and the doctor then gets killed by a stalker, and this 12-year-old kid and the doctor come back as the pop idol's children, and it just becomes really fucking odd. They've both got their normal adult mental capacity, and the doctor won't breastfeed off his mum because he was in love with her as a pop idol, and it's just really fucking disturbing. I don't know. It became sort of pedophilic, which is sort of normal for anime, but I was like, I can't be watching this anymore. And it was a psychologist told me to watch it. He said it's really good. I was like, okay, I'm not going to be alone with you in any room.
It's kind of like, right, that's when last time I listened to you about movies, but thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Japanese do it different, don't they?
They do, yeah. So I don't know. I can't even think of the name of it. I was trying to find the name I can't think of it. I don't know if I've deleted the show. But yeah.
See, rolled up, I'm just walking away from it. It's like, I'm not doing this again.
That's absolutely weird show. But, there it is. Oshin no Ko. I don't know if anyone wants to go and watch it. It's fucking disturbing.
I thought that were a Womble, Oshinoko. Is there any Wombles in it? Does he get that weird?
Great Uncle Oshinoko, yeah.
It's kind of like you're like on this different level of, you think that anime is kind of weird on like some of the stuff. I mean, not being funny, Akira to me is weird. That is mind-bending stuff when you first watched it. And then someone brings up something like you just said, and it's like, right, I'm just like rookie numbers now. Let's just leave that alone.
No, I don't know. I just kept getting more and more disturbed as I was watching it, because the 12-year-old kid loved the doctor, and even when the nurses says to the guy, "This is a bit weird," to the doctor, and he said, "No, it's not. Just it is. It's fucking odd. It's really odd."
Do they do any litter picking or anything like that?
No, no. Oh no. But it's just odd. I can't. Anyway, that's all I've watched.
I've watched a few bits. I've watched the new Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown.
Oh
I
yeah,
heard that's quite good.
Yeah, it's good actually. It's a little bit slow, but I guess you're in it for the music really. The music's good and the story's pretty good, but it is a little bit slow. Wouldn't say you'd have to go to the cinema to see it, unless you want like the big audio, but I watched it with my headphones on, so that was good enough. Another pretty good one I watched as well was one called The Last Showgirl, which is starring Pamela Anderson. She's like a showgirl in Las Vegas, and she's like at the end of like her career, really. You know, she doesn't feel she is, but, you know, she goes for various auditions because the show that she's in is about to end, and they're kind of like saying, well, you're not really what we want. And it's also got Jamie Lee Curtis in it as well. She's like a cocktail waitress in it. And the story's actually pretty good. Directed by Gia Coppola, which is a grandfather, is Francis Ford Coppola, who directed the Godfather films.
yeah.
So yeah, it was going to be up for Oscars and such. Like, she hasn't got the nod for them, but she did for various other, you know, show things that have been on recently. I can't remember the name of them, but the award shows or whatever. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of TV as well. I watched the new Unforgotten series 6. I don't know if you've seen Unforgotten. It's the detective show where it generally starts off with a body being dug up, and they're usually like from like say some like from the 60s or the 70s or 80s or whatever. And so they deal with like historic murder cases, and there's lots of different threads of characters that all weave together and at some point or other within the story before they actually find out who actually did the murder. But they're really good. I mean, that's season 6. And I binged it, basically. It was on like a few weeks ago. And he says it's now available to watch the rest of the episodes right now. So I watched about another 5 straight afterwards. I didn't go to bed until like about 3 o'clock in the morning. So I watched that. It's excellent. I only left myself, I think, one episode to watch. It was excellent. I watched another good show as well. It was on Netflix. They actually did the original one, was called Monster, which is about the famous serial killer Dahmer. Can't remember his first name. He'd get his victims and he'd sort of dismember them within his flat and bury them under the floorboards and flush them down the toilet and boil the bones and all kinds of stuff. It's, you know, modern America. So I think it was like in the 70s. And the follow-up they did was called Monsters, which is about the Menendez brothers in America, set in the 80s, which is really cool, actually. It's got a lot of music from the 80s, which works really, really, really well with the show. And basically they were accused, well, it's difficult to say they were accused, they definitely murdered the parents, and that isn't even a spoiler. That's kind of like episode 1. And it's about their court case and such like. That's another good one. Started watching The Traitors, the USA version, which is really good because instead of like the English version, which is like full of just like average people, the American version is full of like Z-list celebrities from various of their like Big Brother type shows, reality type shows.
Yeah.
So you got guys on there from Survivor, Big Brother, and the Housewife shows over there. And so they've all kind of got a bit of a, they're all fame hungry and they're all stabbing each other in the back and such like. Excellent show. And then I started watching season 3 of True Detectives, which is really good as well. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the True Detective shows. It's an American one. The first one had Woody Harrelson in, and I can't remember the other guy's name, both famous actors. And this is season 3, and it's got a bit of a Alan Wake vibe to it. It's got like a bit of a, not like horror theme going through, but it's got a very eerie theme. It's kind of like a religious sort of mid-America type town that it's set in like the 1970s, about 2 children that go missing. I'm up to about episode 4, but one thing I will say is that it flips from, say, like the 1970s to like the 2000s and then like into modern day. And I tell you what, the makeup they've done on them guys to make them look old is absolutely stunning. You would not believe that there wasn't actually that old. And you actually see them when they're younger. The makeup is amazing. That show needs to win something just for the makeup and the costumes and such, like absolutely brilliant.
What's that on kind of subscription service or whatever? I mean, I've never heard it, I have to admit, but it's the sort of thing that we might end up watching.
I watch it on various methods, so it will be available via subscription somewhere.
Okay.
So, but you can definitely get it on Amazon as well. In fact, I think it's a HBO show. So you might even find, if you've got Amazon Prime, sometimes you get like them 7-day subscriptions for nothing or whatever. But that True Detectives is each of the different seasons of season 1 to 4, and each season has got totally different detectives in it. So you can actually watch season 1, then watch season 4, then watch season 2, vice versa, whichever one takes your fancy, really. But if you're into buying them on Amazon, I think you can buy it for probably about £10, for a full season.
Sky Atlantic or something. So it's one of those American series kind of things. That's the one.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very good. The first one, the season 1, I started watching season 1, and I watched about 2 or 3 episodes, and I wasn't sure if I was getting quite into it. So I flipped to like season 3, and I think after watching 4 episodes of season 3. I think by the time I've watched that, I will go back and continue watching season 1 because I've got more of a vibe as to what to expect. I think I've enjoyed season 3 more. So yeah, definitely well worth watching.
I'm going to know now, as you're talking about it, so I didn't realise, so Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey first season. I mean, that's cool. I really like him as an actor as well. So that sounds pretty cool.
The 4th season's Jodie Foster, and she's obviously massive, or she used to be. I mean, you don't hear about her a lot these days, but she's well in there, isn't she? She's got
very much
massive, excellent movies. So I'm looking forward to watching number 4. Number 2, for some reason, the review says people didn't like number 2, but that could be because it's totally different from number 1. So it's not what they were expecting. So but I think I will end up watching them all.
What you're saying about it is that it jumping around is just part of it. I mean, as you say, it's different times and that sort of thing, isn't it? Really, so.
Yeah, it's really good. I would highly recommend if season 3 is a great jumping in point. Definitely, then brilliant. It's got I think they call him Stephen Dorff. If you don't recognise the name, if you looked at a picture of him, you would definitely recognise him from films from the 90s and the 2000s. Excellent acting for sure. So I highly recommend those.
Yeah, RottenTomatoes.com. That's interesting. True Detective season 1 isn't just one of the best season, but it's also one of the best detective shows ever aired on television. That's a pretty glowing response.
It is, but I found it's quite heavy going, but definitely amazingly well acted. I can't quite figure out where it's going in that one. In the 3rd one, I've kind of got a bit of a clue as to what might happen, but that one there is a little bit off the wall to begin with. But definitely well worth getting into. So should we have a bit of a chat about the games that are forthcoming this month?
Yeah, let's have a nose. I think that's a good shout.
Definitely some good games coming out, although there's one of the games that is coming out, which is probably the one I would really probably like to play, which would be like the new Assassin's Creed game, which is for some people is an instant hate thing if it's a Ubisoft game. But as a piece of sort of news as well, I had read in the past week or so that copies of that have been floating around.
Oh, really?
People have been playing it early. And they've kind of asked it not to spoil the story, etc. Obviously, these discs can't be like just produced yesterday to be released today. They'll have been sat in a warehouse, obviously, for a considerable amount of time because they delayed the game, etc. And they're kind of also saying that they don't really want it to be judged on its current performance, because that can be the worst thing, can't it, if you start off on the wrong foot. I do believe that YouTube and such like can be quite serious about it these days. There's a lot of embargoes, so even if someone did release it on YouTube, they can do an instant takedown, can Ubisoft, and say like, no, we're not having it because it hasn't been released and it's obviously an unofficial release version, and we haven't asked for it to be released. A similar thing I'd heard as well is that, the Switch 2, some of them had appeared on the black market.
Right.
Yeah, I think that had happened in the past couple of weeks. I didn't delve into that as to how true or how true it wasn't, but allegedly. So yeah, but I'm not sure what use the Switch 2 would be, because I imagine it needs activation, like when you first buy a Switch. But there again, you can activate a Switch without being online. You can just set up a dummy account.
Play as a local unit, yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know how locked down it is, or if someone wants to take it apart and just understand the gubbins, kind of somebody who wants to do a hack job on it or something, potentially.
I'm fairly sure if you activate it online, they'd brick it for you.
Yeah, possibly.
Send the code down and brick that machine. But yeah, so you want to make sure it never goes online. Not for the moment, anyway.
I think a load of like third-party peripheral manufacturers had access to them quite early, didn't they? Someone bought some. I think it was whatever show it was, CeBIT or whatever it was, the computer show quite recently. They had them there, and they were showing cases for a Switch 2, and it's just like, well, there's like an announcement trailer, so how have you managed to do that sort of situation? They're already saying they scaled this thing, built it, and made a proper case for it. So they've obviously got to be lurking somewhere, even if it's space models or something, or as you say, barely working prototype level.
Yeah, well, if they're going to release that in, say, like a couple of months' time, perhaps, well, then, like, there again, it can't have just been made yesterday for a tomorrow release. The bound to be sat in a warehouse somewhere. There must be, they've got to build that stock up. I don't know how long it'd take to produce enough consoles to, well, they probably won't satisfy the initial demand, but to satisfy, maybe 60, 70% of that initial demand worldwide, there must be already made. There must be sat in a warehouse somewhere.
You'd assume, yeah, it's got to be somewhere close. I think it's end of May, isn't it? They're looking at this point. I think was the last thing that was sort of teased, and $400 as a price point or something, I think. From
Oh yeah, I mean, well, they've got to be shipped as well. I mean, some probably will go on a plane, but I imagine they're going to be put on a ship, which a ship doesn't take, say, I don't know where they're coming from, Japan or China or wherever initially, but a slow boat to, the UK to satisfy demand again must take a number of weeks as opposed to, just a couple of days, really.
Maybe 12, 14 weeks, depending on what route it takes at the moment.
They might already be halfway here. So
no, exactly that. That's all the stuff we've got for the month looking in there. It's loads of smaller stuff.
So I was going to say, I'm pissed off at Sony. Back in January, they gave away Ragnarok for free, a game I want to play. This month, they're giving Dragon Age, Valorant.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
For fuck's sake, what is going on? I play for the PlayStation, and they've never had so many good games coming out. So it's such a short space. Like, fuck you, Sony.
If we're doing the universe a service here and getting every decent monthly games.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. Really annoyed with Sony. I would love to play Ragnarok. God of War was one of my games I played in 2020. It was the first game I ever platinumed, and I'd love to play Ragnarok. But I suppose I should have gone out and bought it, but I'm tight. I was waiting for it to come out in their service. But yeah, first month of the year as it comes out.
The daft thing is though that because it's come to the higher tier, it's not a giveaway game. That may come and go by the time the Year of Shame challenge has been and done. They might take it off in October or something. They don't always leave them on there forever, do they?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you.
So you want to see the visual heartbreak that's just happened on.
But it's true though. They do remove them, unfortunately. But then again, sometimes people do complain that later in the year, because it's come to premium, you may well find in say like October or whatever, it does become a freebie game. A bit like a Dragon. So you may well find it comes off of one thing to be put on another. Then people complain that particular month. So
I mean, PlayStation are bad at it for that, but I mean, Xbox are no better at all. Some of the stuff they've taken off there, I mean, friends and I have been playing things multiplayer, and then halfway through playing it, it's just gone. And you're like, okay, right, we were enjoying it. okay, it's a stupid little game if no one else has played it, but Spider Heck, which is just a kind of arena combat physics game when you're using spiders and you're picking up weapons and shooting each other in an arena. We never had so much fun. We found it by accident. We were doing a LAN party age, playing it months on months. I think this is just a silly little arena game. We pumped like 40, 50 odd hours into quite easy. And then one day it's just like, and it's gone. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks then. That's brilliant. And they seem to have this habit of it literally just appearing. The same way they do with the game park. These new games are coming out. You have this big list just appears of like, we're taking all the, oh, okay, that's not very nice. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
They just did enough hours in the day, though, to play them all, though, is there? You know, that's the problem. I mean, you could pick one. This is where the year of shame comes from, isn't it? It's the same again. You've got another, goodness knows how many games on these subscription services that it's a never-ending thing. I mean, let's be honest. All these games that we're not playing this year, they are our future pile of shame games. You know, so I'm not sure doing a year of shame challenge just allows you to catch up on the past games, but you still got a big backlog to like pick from. But I think you'll probably buy, well, you're going to buy less, I think, obviously, but yeah, and it'll be cheaper as well, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of terrifying. I said to my wife a couple of days ago, oh, they put Veilguard. What's that? I'm like, it's been out a couple of months, and I know a couple of people played it, and they really enjoyed it. And she's like, oh, maybe you could do it again next year then. I'm like, it might be a little bit too far, but I mean, I might have to spend a lot of money next year. So
yeah, it's true. But that Dragon Age Veilguard, but Dragon Age Inquisition, if you've got that in your catalogue, that is a cracking game. I was hoping that Veilguard was going to be darker like Dragon Age Inquisition is, where they've kind of cartooned it up a little bit. Obviously, they're going for the trying to capture the younger audience in comparison to my age in any case. But yeah, I would say if Dragon Age Inquisition, if it had Dragon Age Inquisition graphics, I think I would enjoy it more in the respect of its darker tones to the storyline. But yeah, if you've got that, definitely consider Dragon Age Inquisition. I enjoyed that. I played it from beginning to end. Fantastic.
I think I've got them all and that sort of thing, along with the Dragon Age games and all the Mass Effect stuff. Is when you get EA Play, you just get that mountain of just back catalogue that's there as part of it, I think, from memory. So.
Yeah, I played Dragon Age Origins. The reason I played it was because Claudia Black voices Morrigan. Morrigan? I think the character's name is. And I like Claudia Black. She's quite... Okay, I just like her. But yeah, she was in Stargate or Farscape, if you ever watched Farscape years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I'm trying to remember. Long time ago. Wow.
She got me into that game.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Seems
so,
fair.
Yeah.
That same kind of like RPG, obviously, tilt. We've got Avowed, which is obviously now everyone is probably playing it, much to my despair because I can't. But yeah, that's getting some half decent reviews. People are saying it's good. I've heard it referred to as Skyrim Light. But it looks like it's a pretty decent game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I would love to play this, but I'm only on a laptop. I don't think I'd play it on PlayStation. So while I do miss this, thankfully it's not available to me to play, or wouldn't be available to me to play. But it does look good. It really looks good.
And that's the name of the copy to build that gaming PC next year, then.
That's yeah. That money, that'll be good.
Yeah, Avowed is definitely a game I would have definitely played. I have got access to Game Pass. But I don't pay for it, you know, it's like a shared account type thing. So, but I would definitely have played that. It does look good. And on YouTube, people are saying they are enjoying it. And also some other podcasts, some of the guys on there saying they've really enjoyed it too. So the benefit of that particular game probably in 6 months' time, or obviously it's going to be like 10 months before we can play it. By then, no doubt they'll have enhanced it, done various things, lots of fixes, because it's that kind of game that probably has, various things that need fixing or adding to it really to fill it out a little bit. So not a bad thing really.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely we'll give it a go.
I think it's nice that's one of those games that's been a breath of fresh air because it's come out and it's not been surrounded in controversy in that it doesn't run, there's problems with it, it just like it's optimized terribly, all those things. It seems to have just worked, and the focus has been quite a lot based on purely people saying their actual thoughts on the game, which is like, this is amazing, that's a fantastic situation. Spider-Man came out in January on the PC and it was a complete hellhole. It ran like a PowerPoint slideshow, everyone was annoyed with it, so no one really got a chance to play it properly. I know a few people who have bought it and they're happy with it, it ran okay, and they just have been frequent crashing on it, but that's not the worst thing in the world, and you expect it from a PC game, to be honest, more than you would a console one. But it's that kind of lack of polish, which I think Avowed has kind of brought back to the spotlight a little bit, which is quite nice.
Oddly enough, Microsoft, the past two big releases, I suppose it's Game Pass sort of games out there, but the past two big releases, which has been Indiana Jones, which hit the ground running and no one complained about, and they was quite happy with, and Avowed has come out, and that's been another good one as well. So, that's not a bad thing really, because like you say, generally speaking these days, the amount of drama when a game comes out, man, I mean, it's getting to a point where it's unnecessary, really. You get bored of the drama. Let's just enjoy the game for what it is. There's no such thing as any kind of perfect game. They're all going to come out with... They're so big, these games, and so technical that, I mean, you should expect it to be playable. And it is disappointing, but I think everyone knows these days that most games aren't really perfect until maybe a few weeks afterwards, really, at the earliest, really.
I think the day one patch has become it's a standard, isn't it, really? It's almost like an expansion pack sort of situation you get with it now. The game comes out and there is an expected big day one patch of like 3-4 gig or something. Yeah. I think it's just a par for the course.
I mean, for some people, if you haven't got very fast internet, perhaps in some countries, that'll be a massive pain. Some people pay I think some countries will probably still charge per gigabyte. It could even add a considerable, maybe not considerable, but it'll definitely add a cost to the actual purchase of the game, which is, to some degree, you can understand if you paid for a game in a particular country and you had to spend, say, another £5 in data to download some of these updates. I mean, some of them updates, 4 or 5 gigabytes. Sometimes it downloads the whole game again. It could be 70 gigabytes you get in day one. So, I mean, that might cost some people in some countries double the cost of the game. So, very unfair.
Yeah. I think it's the United States. There are some providers still that do it. I think you have a gigabyte limit. I know that's kind of pretty much disappeared for USPs over here. But I mean, I think it was, I can't remember we discussed this before, but Flight Simulator, when they brought the last one out, they now made the texture packs and like the maps and everything so high resolution that it's chewing like gigs and gigs an hour just to generate the landscape that you're playing on. So there's people like running out of data bandwidth for a month in like a day or two by playing Sim, and you're like, oh, what?
That is madness.
I mean, it's beautiful, and if you run it at 4K, you should know better. To be honest with you, you're asking it to put a lot of data through, but it runs off that map technology. I can't remember what it is now. It is spectacular. Don't get me wrong, and the whole point of it is that it is real world, real time cloud formations, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, just like someone did a test on it. There's a review somewhere. Try and post it up on the on Midlife Gamer at some point, unless it was already done. But it's just funny to read of like just how much chewing through just in the corner, and you have no idea that it's just belting your internet with all this data.
Yeah, it's absolute madness. Another good game that's coming out, where it depends if you like these sorts of games, but there again, I've already got the previous 2 Switch releases of these particular games, and that's the Xenoblade. Which one is it? It's a remake. It's a Xenoblade Chronicles X.
It's X, isn't it? Yeah, the one that was on the Wii U.
Yeah, the definitive edition, which, to be honest with you, I haven't finished 2 and I haven't finished 3. And also the Chronicles, I think they did another one, I can't remember what it is. I've got like 2 of them. I haven't got Xenoblade 2. In fact, there's another one, there's Xenoblade 2, some extra story version as well that you can get. And those games are humongous as well. They're usually a good 60 to 70 hours. But it's strangely addictive, but I won't miss that particular one because I still haven't finished the other 2, and I must have probably 100 hours worth of gameplay in them 2 left at the very least. But they are good games, and I probably would have bought that game, even though I might not have played it straight away.
They've always got good reviews, those. I mean, I think there was just before they shut down all the servers for the Wii U, I had a bit of a complete moment of running around the store, just like, oh, goodbye, lots of things before it disappears for the time. And I think the 2 things I bought was, I think it was Paper Mario, 1,000 Year Door, whatever it was, original of that, and that Xenoblade game. I picked those both. I think it was Dr. Luigi, stupid like Tetris game, because I thought, well, I might as well get it because I'll never get it again. But that's sat on my hard drive, so I probably should go back to that and make use of the Wii U, to be honest.
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, technically speaking, you have the game. You could enjoy that game. And the graphics is probably upscaled. It's probably got better music. I imagine it'll be 9/10 of the same, really. They're just bringing it to a new console.
On a 1080 panel, it'll be still decent, to be honest with you. I mean, the Wii U was pretty capable of doing 1080p.
Yeah, well, even the TV will do the upscaling as well.
Yeah.
So, so it'll still make it look good. I mean, a lot of Switch games are 720. 720p, 1080p if you're lucky, really.
I'll now go back to have a look at Xenoblade, because all the time you don't have, Ben.
Another good game that's meant to be coming out is Atomfall, which I've heard not a lot about, but enough about to know that it's meant to be really good. I believe it's meant to be in the vein of my brain. Let me just think. Classic games, classic FPS games. What you call it? You know, the ones where you're underwater. What do they call it? It's a classic PC game. There's 3 of them. First 2 were set underwater. I've turned it into.
Oh, Bioshock?
Bioshock, yeah. It's meant to be similar. It's meant to be touching on that one, really, though it's not underwater, etc. But I believe the graphics are meant to be in that vein. The gameplay is meant to be in that kind of vein. The other one, that We Happy Few or something.
Yeah.
Which was meant to be like a Bioshock type game. I believe I know that wasn't a popular game for a lot of people. A lot of people didn't like it. I've played it a little bit. But yeah, it's meant to be more in that kind of world, but more Bioshocky. So that could be a good one.
Yeah, it feels like kind of survival horror meets that We Happy Few thing, as you just said. Even better, it's made by Rebellion that are based in Oxford, just down the road as well. So if you want to play it, it's not often you get someone like a local gaming studio that's still going in the UK. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I think that'll be one I'll be interested to see on YouTube and to get people's opinions about. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, you can take a little bit of the edge off these things. Although you can put more of an edge on it, can't you, if you watch too many YouTubes and obsess over it. But often I'll watch the YouTubes and think, yeah, that looks good. I've got plenty of others to play, but it gives you that little taste, if nothing else.
I can see the PC requirements for it. Hoping this to be like, oh, you can't run it. Oh no, damn it, I meet all the minimums. Damn it. Okay.
There's another one. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but it's Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 coming out, the complete edition. They're popular with people as well, aren't they? Those meant to be pretty good games, being well received over the years.
They are good. Okay, then they're just good, like sit in the corner in the afternoon sort of thing and just let it run sort of thing whilst having a cup of tea game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I've never really got into those sim games. But if you've ever listened to Joysticks and Chill podcast, Jay of that loves that type of game. He has done whole roller coaster worlds and stuff. So I've never really got into it. I watch his videos and he puts them up on YouTube, but I don't think I have the patience to play that type of game.
One of the guys I work with is obsessed with roller coasters. He absolutely loves them, and he's playing the new Planet Coaster that came out recently, and he's like absolutely phenomenal. But it's like in the first couple of days, he was like, "I've just spent like a day and a half building a car park. I haven't even built like anything that could be considered a roller coaster yet. Car park and a gate." And okay, well, that's a little bit on the slow side. There's because Planet Coaster, there was a console version, wasn't that free on PSN a while back from memory, like the end of last year or something?
Yes, it was, but I didn't.
I think I've got it downloaded again. I haven't touched it yet. It's one of those I could start on it, but then it just turned into a monumental time sink.
I think I'd be scared I'd actually I would like it, and I'd end up spending the rest of the year just playing that game. I've got too much else to do. Yeah.
Another good one called Split Fiction, which is by the guys that made It Takes Two. I believe or at least it's like it.
Yeah, that looks interesting. And it's the same type of thing. One person buys the game, the other, and you can get your friend to join you. That does look good. If we got somebody else to buy the game and we played it and we didn't pay for it, would that be allowed? I don't know.
Possibly.
It's controversial.
I'd have to find a friend first. But yeah.
Now we've got It Takes Two installed on the PlayStation. I sort of show my wife the trailer and things for it. It's like, come on, it's fairly light-hearted. It should be to do with like relationships and stuff. Surely it'll be good fun. One of my best friends has just been playing it with his partner, and they've absolutely loved playing it split screen and said it was fantastic as well. So that's kind of another glowing thing for it. I'm happy it's there now. I think I'll try and see if I can get her to play it maybe the second half of the year or something when she finished destroying Lucifer from start to finish.
Yeah. Never played It Takes Two. I would love to play it, but never got around to it.
Cool stuff this month as well. All coming in the next month or so. It's kind of like there's another Killing Floor game that was meant to be last month, I think it was, and it slipped into March. It's sort of. But have you ever played any of the Killing Floor games? They were just aimless, mindless, mental fun of like killing inside of an arena. So it was like Doom, but in a really small arena. Pretty cool, to be honest. But it was just mindless.
I do like the sound of a Doom game. That sounds good.
I think I played Killing Floor 2. I think that came out quite a few years ago.
It's massive in the modding community as well, I believe. So it's just got endless mods and stuff to it. It's very much kind of in like the vein of Left 4 Dead, I suppose. Really, it kind of fell into that sort of place, I think. But it was savage when I played it. I remember playing Left 4 Dead and getting pretty good with it with friends. We had a go at that and just got slaughtered. It's just cruel in the way that it deals with you, kind of control stuff and things on it. But it was very, very well put together. So it's kind of nice to bring a third one out.
There's another good game coming as well, which, well, it looks good. The first Berserker Kazan, which looks like a Dark Souls-y sort of game. That could be another interesting one. It's a hardcore action role-playing game, it says. I'm just trying to figure out what other games have done in the past, or it might even be a new team. So
it's kind of one of those games I don't really get to, but...
Well, yeah, it'd be one of them games. It might be a 7 out of 10 sort of game that sort of disappeared by the time you can buy some more games. It's, you never hear of it again, but I'll look out for it on YouTube for sure.
It's been silent for ages. Noticed it's on this same list we've got from Game Rant, but Wreckfest, if you've ever played that, is one of the games I completely finished last year, and that's been in early access, and they haven't spoken about it for months, like half a year, or suddenly active early access, and it's out this month as well, which looks pretty cool. I love Wreckfest. I love destroying stuff.
Yeah, I played that on PlayStation. That was really, really good. Good fun. If you get good people playing it, it's quite hilarious.
I grew up on the flat out games on the PC from like the early 90s. Flat Out 1 and 2 were what Bugbear originally made, and it was kind of half race game, half ridiculous physics simulator, effectively. And the first two were brilliant. And then they made the third and I think fourth ones were terrible, when they were just basically cash-ins, I think, by a different team or something. And they've gone back to it. The original Bugbear team who built Wreckfest did a spectacular job. The physics engine's amazing. And they're doing another step forward with this one. It looks really, really good. There's only been pretty excited for that.
Very good.
What you just mentioned about the first Berserker, because I was trying to show you on camera, but it's not showing up. It's getting out of focus. I went and played that in Tokyo Game Show last year. It was really good. I liked it.
Fantastic. Is it a Dark Souls-y sort of game?
It felt like it when I was playing. I only got to play for a couple of minutes. The queue is huge. But that's what I'm trying to show is a folder I got with they gave out loads of folders and crap. But
fantastic.
It's one of the few folders I kept. But yeah, quite a good game. I liked it.
And I guess if you're a wrestling fan, there's a new WWE coming as well.
Everyone loves a roster update.
Yeah.
the Hitman's going to VR, isn't it? Hitman World of Assassination as well.
Oh, cool.
I've got a PSVR too, but I've spent so little time on it. It's ridiculous, really. It just sits in the corner gathering dust.
I've never done VR.
Yeah, they're about to have a price drop. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sub £400 now. Still feels excessively expensive, but
yeah, it was humongously expensive when it first came out. I mean, but in comparison to the Apple VR that was meant to be coming out, wasn't that something like £2,500 or more or something?
Yeah. The technology on that's obviously a lot more in depth, but still, I mean, I still think Sony were aiming a little bit high. I mean, the VR did well on the PS4, but it didn't do well enough to kind of that amount of money in my eyes.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to say how much they've enjoyed it and I'm wrong, please feel free, sort of thing. But it's kind of one of those things I looked at it and thought, that'd be really cool, but not the same price I just paid for the console. Cool.
It does have a dual benefit because you can run it on the PC as well. So you're kind of getting like a PC VR headset as well as a PlayStation one, which isn't a bad thing. It's got pretty good tech in there. But there again, I don't know. I just haven't felt the urge to really play it. I bought it secondhand. I only paid a couple of £100 for it. If I'd have paid 600 and something pound for it, or whatever the price was when the first one released, I'd be devastated.
Yeah. Could you play Half-Life Alyx on it?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. If you've got a 30 series graphics card, an NVIDIA 30 series graphics card, it's got the USB port on there. You can plug it straight into that. But if you haven't got that particular port, you can buy like Sony do an adapter. I can't remember how much it is, maybe £30 to £40 or thereabouts. And then you can use it with any graphics card. So yeah, you can do that.
It's not a cheap way to play it. No.
But the big problem they had with theirs is it's got a cable, but the MetaQuests are all wireless now, aren't they? So
yeah.
I think that's the big reason they didn't do so well. If they'd been able to get the technology to allow them to go Wi-Fi, it would have been better. But hopefully, if they do another one, a VR3, it'll be wireless, and that'll be a better thing.
And that probably would have been, despite what I've just said, will be based on the cost. It was just making it completely Wi-Fi and everything would have just been so expensive with it being proprietary and the way they've done everything with it. I think would have killed it on the spot. Whereas the Meta's been kind of that nice little balance, isn't it? They've tried to find, you haven't got the clarity that you've probably got on a VR2, but you've got it completely wireless and that kind of.
Yeah, and they're using it for advertising and data collection as well. So that was why if you bought the professional one, it was over 1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, there's always, it's like a Betamax versus VHS sort of thing, isn't it, with those two particular headsets? There's pros and cons to both, really, which is, good and bad.
Yeah, I think it's all from the games next month. You mentioned Assassin's Creed, but there's nothing else really next month.
The state of play this month was an interesting one to watch as well. Lots of interesting games on there.
They're doing well with it. It's a good tour de force of stuff they keep putting out at the moment from the studios. It's all in production, but they've got the pipeline seems amazing from Sony's front of them.
Yeah, there's a number of games on there I'd be interested in playing for sure. Borderlands 4, I really like those kinds of graphics. I like that. I suppose they're maybe not shell shaded these days, but they do have that kind of look about them. The aesthetics of the game, I really do enjoy that. And they're obviously, well, generally speaking, all Borderlands games are good to play, really.
I like that. I've played is there 3 games and a prequel? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the last game.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. The last game that came out, I played. I liked the game, but I got annoyed with the humor, so I fell off the game. I do like the graphics. I think it's amazing looking. So
we put a lot of time into 3. It was pretty cool. I got a lot of work to do. It'd be interesting to see where they go with it.
I couldn't quite work out why they needed to do a remaster of Days Gone. Sony, I tell you what, Sony are really, 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 really terrible for doing. So, for example, Days Gone, you could get it. I think when the PlayStation 5 came out, they give away like a little bundle of games, like a God of War game and various things like that. I think Days Gone was in that particular bundle of freebie games, technically freebie or whatever you want to call it. And Sony do this all the time. So if you get a game on PlayStation Plus, so like an Assassin's Creed game, they just they've upgraded Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So, for example, if they'd have given you that on the PlayStation Plus, they don't allow you to just pay the £10 to upgrade that version. You've got to go buy the full version.
Yeah, that is cheeky, to be honest. Yeah.
Which I think's really stinky, in like a big way, really. That Days Gone, if you have the disc, I mean, it's probably a good time to buy the disc. You could probably pick that up for probably about £8 or so, and then just pay the £10 to upgrade it. But it's really bad. I mean, what would Sony rather have? Loads of people just go buy an £8 second-hand disc and then pay another tenner on top, or just say to everybody, "Well, just pay £10 and you can upgrade the free version that you'd had." Why not?
I think that'd be a better way.
Yeah. You'll get more money out of it.
I loved Days Gone. I thought it was a great game.
Yeah, I thought it fantastic. Like we were mentioning earlier, he kind of did get a little bit of a bad reception. I did initially buy it, kept it wrapped, read the reviews and watched the reviews and such like, and virtually sent the game back because I thought I'm not going to unwrap it because I can't return it if I unwrap it. After watching more reviews and rethinking about it, etc., I rebought it and I really enjoyed it. Excellent game.
I've just done the obligatory, this game's being remastered by Sony search, which is the best we can do is go on to CEX. And Days Gone for the PS4 is now, rather than being 20.
Wow.
So the second they're horrendous for doing stuff like this.
Yeah, really bad.
And that will be that £10 thing. That's all they will, because that's what everyone will buy it for. I mean, I've got loads of PS4 games that I have to use the disc for on my 5 to get the upgrade, and that will purely be for this to make money out of people doing that.
Yeah, Sony gets none of that money because that game's already been purchased.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just CEX are making a fortune out of it, surprisingly.
Yeah,
that'll have been one of them games that people are trading. They've been giving them like £2 and £3 for that. Before this announcement. Yeah.
I mean, now it's trade in for voucher 13 and trade in for cash £9, which for a game that old is it's worth pennies without that upgrade. Interesting.
Yeah, because a lot of people had it for free as well.
Yeah.
So I was going to say there does look to be a lot of good games coming, like you say, in the pipeline for sure. But a lot of it's 2026 by the looks of it.
Yeah. Everything that's in there looks amazing, and there's all these big adventures and stuff, and I just scroll down and find Shinobi and get all excited about it.
They are good games out there. I mean, they're part of, like, I remember Revenge of Shinobi on Mega Drive, which were a great game in its day.
I still own that, and I still own the Master System version, I think, of the original Shinobi. I just thought they were great games. They always were. Even the Saturn version, which is like non-existent and you can't find copies of it anymore, was great. And I think they made a really, really good marketing choice at the start of it by putting in huge letters from the team that bought you Streets of Rage 4, which means that anyone who's bought that is go, that was absolutely immense. They did such a fantastic job of it. That's half the sale done. If they can make that a platformer as good and play as well as Streets of Rage 4 did and give that still retro feel, then It's just amazing. They've done a really good job.
Often they cut price as well. Like, there might be like, say, £20, 25 quid. So they're kind of in that price bracket where it becomes not quite a why not, but well, let's give it a go sort of price, really.
Yeah, it's not a hard sell, is it, to be honest, at all? So
Absolutely. It's good to see there's lots of good games to come, but it does look a bit thin on what was actually really going to be coming out, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's all very much, yeah. I mean, there's some of them. Metal Eden is looking like it's May. Snake Eater's getting the release this year, isn't it? Yeah, but that's August 28th. That's the second half of the year in development for ages now.
Yeah, that's when things are going to start to really sort of bite, I think, because really we're getting into the point, to some degree, we're going to be getting to that point soon where it's summertime, springtime, less games generally get released because people aren't really sat at home. They want to be outside the house, in the garden or doing other activities, saving for holidays or going away on holidays and such like. But I think August onwards is probably going to be, pretty tough time, really.
Quite surprised over the last month. I mean, we watch Amazon Prime and stuff like that and YouTube to watch whatever my wife and I watch. And just continuously, I've never seen Monster Hunter promoted so heavily in this country ever before than what the new one is. They are absolutely just smashing it continuously. There's not a program that every single same advertising for it. I mean, if you like Monster Hunter, great. But I mean, it's one of those games that it got a pretty decent following from what I'm aware in Europe and stuff, but it's never been kind of like, well, it's immense sort of thing. I don't think, has it? Or am I wrong? I mean, I don't know.
I think it's the first one where it's been pushed really, really heavily. So I keep hearing it. It's always being advertised, and every podcast is talking about the fact that they're fed up with seeing trailers for. Or I don't know. It does look like it's really good.
Yeah, it will be decent. It'll be good. I mean, Capcom do a pretty good job with these sort of games. The other Monster Hunters are meant to be great. I mean, sadly, I have them all stacked up in my Steam library and never touched. I think I've played like 15 minutes of one of them or something. But yeah, I think just based off what we just said, maybe it's like, you're the best of what's left. Come on, son, get out there and make us proud. March is the quiet month. You need to get out there and do something for.
Yeah, it reminded me really of like Destiny, but with dinosaurs, really. It had that kind of sort of vibe to it, where you got to hunt them down. Well, obviously got to hunt them down, but yeah, it seems to be a game you have to dedicate a lot of time to build your character up to be able to get to kill these dinosaurs and whatever monsters, etc. But it didn't quite grip me, and I found I just got stuck on it. I got stuck, and I tried to play it a second time, and I just couldn't find this particular monster. I followed all these tracks and everything, and I just could never find the guy to kill. So I had to give up in the end.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I never even got that far, to be honest with you, but I imagine it's pretty good. It's one of those things, isn't it?
I think if it takes a grip, yeah, definitely. I think once it grips you, it's one of them games that you will consistently play.
Yeah, very much so. I think that's bang on the head, really, to be honest.
The game for me out of the whole Sony show was Saros, which just looks absolutely stunning. Housemarque.
You assume it's going to be another Returnal-ish sort of game, don't you? That's got to be in that similar vein. That's going to be mind-blowing for a lot of people.
Yeah, it looks stunning. I can't wait to see that.
I mean, I didn't even realise what it was. Year. Yeah, I didn't realise what it was till you said about it. I mean, I saw a few of the videos from the State of Play, and you're like, oh, what about this? And I don't know what it is. It's like, oh, that is pretty. It's very pretty, but it's one of those things. I kind of look at it. I get the kind of a bit of a Death Stranding vibe from it as well, sort of thing. A little bit from the graphics, and it's like, oh, time to that.
Oddly enough, you mentioned Death Stranding, and that's meant to come out later this year. And that wasn't mentioned in the State of Play, was it? I don't think. Or was it? Did it get a mention? Death Stranding 2.
I reckon it'll have its own show, won't it?
Yeah, I think you'll make a big deal of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that'll be a game. I mean, there again, I haven't finished Death Stranding 1, but yeah, that'll be a definite floor sort of game I want to get my teeth into for sure.
New details were revealed earlier in the week. The store page has been updated in late February, so it's still kind of, it's happening, but we're not telling you when. I think there's more news coming on March the 9th.
He does it. It's all his. I mean, this isn't a bad thing. He's an absolute artist when it comes to video games, but it's all his way or no way. This is allegedly Capcom or whatever. They just couldn't work with him anymore. They just had enough of him, basically. Is it Capcom that he used to work for? Who did the Metal Gear? Whoever did the Metal Solid games?
Konami.
Metal Gear Solid. Konami, that's
Konami,
it, sorry, yeah. They just couldn't work with him anymore. He's just it's all his way or no way, really. I mean, he's a perfectionist. Not a bad thing for us. If you were putting your dollars into his development, I bet that can start off at one price and triple, quadruple.
I guess kind of say though, like he was not to downplay Konami at all. I mean, historically an amazing developer, but he was kind of their meal ticket for time. A little bit really. So I think that's why he kind of sat there and went, do you want to make money or not, sort of situation. Otherwise we're doing it my way or you're not making money. So
I mean, even the concept behind Death Stranding doesn't sound that interesting, does it? I mean, even if you try to describe it to somebody who's just walking around, you know what I mean, carrying things on your back and such, like, it doesn't sound that exciting. But when you actually play the game and the mechanics of the game, it's fantastic. A whole new concept in its own way. Amazing.
Maybe one day.
You were talking about Kojima being a perfectionist. I follow him on Twitter or Blue Sky, and he posted like pictures of him and talking about working really hard. And what he's basically talking about is crunch, and they've been crunching for months to get this game ready to go. And it's just he's quite bad for crunch in games, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
So I don't know. It'll be a great game, no doubt, but with immense cost for his staff, unfortunately. That's Anyway, sorry about that. Bring it down. I'm looking forward to the game, but
yeah, the industry works in strange ways. I guess you've got to do what you've got to do. Everyone's guilty of it at some point, aren't they? So
yeah, it seems to be quite bad. Oh no, there was no other games that I was looking forward to. Not from the. Well, Mind's Eye looks a bit like Cyberpunk. That looked interesting, but I want to see more of that before I make any thoughts about it.
Yeah, you can't tell, can you, these days, how good a game will actually play. And sometimes these things that they show you as well are just, they're more like a video, like the cutscenes as opposed to the actual gameplay, some of them. So
yeah, but it should be interesting. But that was the state of play.
I was trying to look at that in Mind's Eye. I can't get my head around it. It feels a bit like the screenshots look like Mass Effect and Cyberpunk, as you say, all rolled into one. But yeah, I don't know. Need to know more.
Yeah.
I think that's it, isn't it? We got anything else we can think of that needs to be on that list? I think we've burnt out the state of play as well now. Talk through it. That's pretty good.
So what games have you been playing this past month?
Who wants to start on that one? Do you want to go through it?
Okay, I finished 4 games.
Oh,
Nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, started playing Telling Lies. He's the guy who did Her Story. It took me a while to get into it, a couple of hours to get into it, but it ended up being really, really hooking. I kept thinking about what was happening in the game, what was going on. You start off, it's a bit like, as in Her Story, you've got access to a database about a crime or something has happened. And you're just doing search terms to find it, to build up the story. But on the desktop, there's a solitaire game, like we used to call it Patience as kids. It annoyed me. There's one card missing, one of the kings, so you can't finish solitaire properly. And every time I kept playing the game, the same card was missing, so I was getting really pissed with it. If you play it enough, you get an achievement on Steam for playing that game. But for some reason, I kept playing it, and this achievement popped up, and I was, oh, that's quite good. That filled a dopamine need. But I played the game, I don't know, too many hours probably, but it's really good. The story developed. You really get to like some of the characters, and they really hate. I think what an asshole one of them is. But yeah, it was a good game overall. I ended up having to use a guide. I think it was 170 videos, 170 or 150. And I had 148 and couldn't get the last 2. So I found a guide on Steam to get the last 2 videos. So I finished it off. But it was overall a pretty good game. I'm really impressed with it. He has a new now, or a more recent one, about cinema. I can't remember what it's called, but it was launched on Xbox and PC, but didn't come to PlayStation. It has eventually come to PlayStation, but I haven't picked it up yet. After that, I played a game called Sheepy, A Short Adventure. Also on Steam. It's free on Steam. I picked it up maybe a year and a half ago. Duke on Veteran Gamers mentioned it, and he liked part of it, but he got annoyed with one of the levels. And I heard it again recently on the Short Game podcast. They were raving about it, so I thought I'd play that. It only takes about an hour and a half to play. It's one of those pixel art games. It's really, really charming, really sweet. The graphics are very, very cute. And you're like a sheep plushie that's just come back to life. And you have to work your way through these levels. It has a quite good story. Emotionally, it got to me at the end anyway. But just an hour and a half. The music in it is excellent. Apparently, they're going to make a proper game, a full game later on, but it hasn't. There's been no news on that for the last year and a half anyway. That was really good. So I would recommend it. It's free, great price. Sheepy, a short adventure on Steam.
I've just looked at a screenshot of it now, and it kind of weirdly looks like, if you remember the game Flashback years ago that was on like the Amiga and stuff, it looks like Flashback with a sheep.
Yeah. I think the character when he moves, or when he crouches down, or he has to move a lever, the animation is really fucking cute. It's really good. And it has a bad guy, Patches the Bear, and he's one of the best bad guys in the game. He's also really, really cute to look at. So I really recommend the game. It's cool. I have been playing Returnal for months, if not forever, it feels like. I finally finished the game.
Oh, wow.
I've finished it. I have finished the game, but I'm not finished with the game because I'm going to try and go for the platinum. I don't know if I can do it. I've spent so long playing through the game, I've got most of the achievements anyway. But so I'm now just at the level I pick it up and play it for an hour or two and then put it down and go play something else. But that is one of the reasons I'm looking forward to Saros so much, because Housemarque make a fucking brilliant game. Absolutely amazing. So I have no idea. I still don't understand the story, but on the way to getting the platinum, you build up. There's like a true ending after you finish the game. But hopefully I'll get that. I'm 2/3 of the way getting to that now at the moment. You've got to collect 6 things. I've collected 4 of them.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully I get that. But it's a really stunning game. So, and then the only game's the one that we've all played, which we can talk about at the end, I suppose. So Ben, what have you been playing?
So I got obsessed with Arcade Paradise, and that ended up being a high proportion of my February, to be honest. I'll have a go at it and see what happens kind of thing, and just ended up just stuck into it for like nearly 30 odd hours. I absolutely loved it. So who would have thought that owning a laundrette and turning it into a could be so fun, but quite frankly, it's brilliant. I think the best bit about it was all the arcade machines in it. So every time you buy a machine, it allowed you to play it, and it was just, I had a sea of retro games I could just play in virtual reality and thing. You're not supposed to get hooked on it. You're supposed to be literally just taking out because of these machines to make cash to forward your growth of the business kind of thing. I'll just get stuck for hours playing some like rip-off of like Pac-Man meets Grand Theft Auto or something. Really, really stupid how they made these little games, but they just latched onto you and you play them. It was great. So, I mean, that was nearly 30 hours, I think it was. Really enjoyed that. Just on the off chance, started playing Absolute Drift, if you've ever heard of that, which is literally just a little basic drifting game.
I know the name, but I'm just looking it up now. But yeah, it's supposed to be a good game.
Yeah, it's literally, the levels are just white blocks with like totem poles and buildings that are slightly different shadow of it, and the car is basically a little very, very, very basic blocky interpretation of a little Japanese drift car, AE86 or whatever it is. And again, just got completely absorbed. And that was, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours or so. It wasn't that long, but it was just great. It was really great music, drifting around and scoring points and drifting between stuff. And it just, I ended up completely finishing it. Awesome. Loved that.
What did you play that on?
Steam on the deck, actually.
Steam, yeah. It looks really good.
It's just really simple fun, but I can't recommend it enough. It's great. It's a really basic game. That's a lot easier. But Per's taken the time on it, and the physics are good, and the drift made it really cool. Really, really good. I think it's about 5 or something.
Just put it on the wish list.
Nice. I've had Dirt 3 since the day it came out years ago, so Colin McRae Dirt 3. And when it went off of games, Windows Gold, wherever it was years ago, Games for Windows Gold, the worst system in the entire universe as part of Windows Vista. When that died, they then put it onto Steam, and if you owned it, you got an upgrade to the complete edition with all the DLC. And great, but the problem is it started you again, so I completely lost my save off of Games for Windows. 30-something hours later, I think it is, I've now completely finished Dirt 3. Absolutely adore that game. I think it is probably the best Dirt game they've made. I just can't get enough of it. It's great. Soundtrack again is amazing, and it's cool. Such a cool game. And it's Ken Block as well, which is it's a really nice nod to him. Racing against Ken Block feels some weirdly emotional doing it sort of thing, and like going against him. But it was really good. Loved that. That was great. That was my trips in and out of Oxford on public transport for 2 weeks, and I had to go into Oxford. I was literally just ploughing through that every day.
You never miss your stop or anything?
No, luckily not. No, I nearly did. I nearly like twice coming out of Oxford, but Just literally pause the Steam Deck and jump off.
Yeah.
Bastion is the other big game I sort of had a go. It's not a big game, but wow, what a really, really well put together, great little game. I absolutely loved it. It was the narrator, I think, that drove you on it. The guy's voice, sort of like Texan, of like almost like cowboy sort of thing, talking you through the story. But if you've never played Bastion, it's amazing, and you really should. That was cool. And you get like a split ending at the end. I think it's an achievement. You can do something at the end both ways to get a slightly different outcome, and I've managed to do both of those. I couldn't resist going back to look at both, and I think that says a lot.
I thought I played that game actually. But I haven't.
You have?
I thought I had, but I haven't played it. What other games have they had? Transistor is what I've played.
Yeah, Transistor, and then Hades is very similar as well. Game style to it, but that was newer, much newer, I believe.
Yeah, Bastion looks wicked. Transistor I didn't really get on with, but Hades was excellent. I finished.
Hades is on my list to play. Like, I keep getting told by numerous people to play that, but I haven't got there yet. The other weird completion for the month is I went with my son to Swindon last week. Took him to the History of Computing Museum in Swindon, which was really cool. And then we went to High Score Arcade after. Literally, you pay a certain amount and just play arcade games to your heart's content for an hour or so.
There is, yeah.
So that was cool as well. And my two ongoings, I'm about 60% of the way through Tearaway, which I know you're going to talk about. And I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through Sonic Superstars, which I've been playing on the Switch as well, on the Steam Deck as well, which is quite cool. The new one that came out at the end of last year. That's me. It's been a good month.
Yeah, very good. I've got Bastion. I've got it on Switch. I do keep having the odd go on that. And like you said, the narration, it really does drive that story on. The guy's voice in that is very well done, I must admit. Yeah. Absolutely excellent.
I was sold on the kid, as you say, that like the kid was doing this, and you're like, yeah, he was, and it's really important sort of thing. You got driven on to do stuff.
But yeah, it's good. It's one of those games I really feel as if I should definitely play more. And how long did it take you to complete that?
4 or 5 hours, so not a long game at all.
It's a sort of game, maybe in the summer, I'll play it in the garden sort of thing. Go out about 10 o'clock in the morning and probably finish it, after lunch or whatever.
Yeah, it's a decent afternoon of gaming, to be honest with you, and I think it's really worth it for the storyline.
Definitely. I've played quite a few games this past month. I've finished quite a big game. I finished Alan Wake 2,
wow,
and it was fantastic. There's some excellent visuals in there. Now, I'd already played it for quite some time previously, and I must have put in, 8 hours or 10 hours previously to this, and I was playing it this particular month, and I did probably about another 8 hours. Finished the chapter, and it came up and it says chapter 6 complete. So I thought, oh, wow, I'll just check, see how many chapters. There's probably 10 chapters or something. There can't be that many. And I'd looked, it says 19 chapters. I thought, flipping it. I must have put in 16 or 20 hours already, and I'm on chapter 6. What's going on? Am I ever going to finish this game? So I did a bit of investigating. It does actually say that some of the earlier chapters are considerably longer than some of the later chapters. So that gave me a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Really enjoyed it. Finished the main story. Loved it, really. I know you guys aren't too much into your horror games, but I wouldn't say it's amazingly horrific. It isn't full of blood and guts. Well, I suppose it is full of blood, actually, of blood and guts, but it's not scary. But I'd highly recommend you playing it for sure. I also played another game that's been sat in my pile of shame since 2016, or maybe, in fact, 2016. And that's a game I played, really enjoyed it. And when it first released, it was chatted about as being a really good story. And that's Titanfall 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. Apparently it's awesome.
Yeah, it is really good.
That's an amazing game. Really good.
Yeah, I played that, and I am absolutely certain, in fact, I know for a fact I was, when I stopped playing that game, it was because I was on an ender-level boss baddie, and I could not beat him. Whatever I did, I could not beat him. I had it on easy mode, I had it on everything. And I swear, when I put that game on, I was not at that particular point in the game. Either there must be something, it has that kind of mechanic where if you fail it 20, 30 times, it just pumps you onto the next little part or something. I never finished that baddie, that main boss. So anyways, I played it, and I only had about an extra 90 minutes to finish it, which was really good. And if I remember rightly as well, that the ending at the end, it wasn't just your average credits rolling. It was a little bit more to it. It was a little bit more cinematic was the ending. Really enjoyed that. And I mentioned to a friend as well that I'd just finished Titanfall 2. And he says he's still playing the multiplayer side of the game. So that's good to know that that's still going. Because I can remember when I played the multiplayer back in 2016, which is like 9 years ago, it had some fantastic music to it because when you won or lost, when you won, you had to like evacuate onto like a big ship. And the music that used to come on it was really dramatic and really sort of serious. And it really sort of, sent the adrenaline going. So yeah, I might even give that another little go, the multiplayer. Because I'd seen Borderlands 4 in this state of play, and because of how I kind of had like the perfect kind of game really to play. I wanted something that had a medieval feel. And then I wanted a Borderlands game as well. And one that's been sat on my pile of shame since 2022 is Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Oh.
Which is really, really good. It's a little bit linear to begin with, the first couple of hours, which in a lot of big games is generally just a training tutorial mode, so it leads you down a particular path. You don't have really a lot of choice into what you're doing. You're just learning how to do everything. And I kind of wasn't digging it for the first couple of hours, which I often don't with these big games because I don't like the tutorial so much. I've now pumped in, I don't know, I think I must have pumped in 24 or 26 hours into that in relatively, a short space of time. And I'm probably a good 80% of the way through it. It's done in chapters, but there's lots of side quests you can do, which I haven't really gone and done. But yeah, really enjoying it. Excellent guns. It has a bit of a Destiny feel to it because some of the baddies that you kill, the main sort of end-level boss baddies, they drop a load of loot and you can replay them. So you could kind of keep replaying the same baddie and getting different loot so you get better guns. You have like usual purple guns, green guns, blue guns, purple bin. I think, well, it's like a yellowy, goldy colour, or like the top tier guns. Been really, really enjoying that. And then the other game, which is what everyone else has been playing as well, is Tearaway Unfolded. I found that to be really, really good. There again, 13 hours. I watched a YouTube on that one. They'd done it in 6 hours. I thought I was going to be having a relatively short experience, but one that was long overdue. But it didn't. It took me 13 hours, and probably 6 hours, like I've mentioned, is pretty much a speed run, really. 6 hours. I don't know how you could manage to get through it in 6 hours. I mean, I wandered around. It felt like an adventure game at certain points where you could wander around and figure things out and go back and forth. And yeah, there were lots to do in it. What did you think of it, Brian?
I thought it was a really charming platformer. I found some certain areas you go to, they felt really huge. And I was sort of struggling to figure what was I supposed to do. And it has a feature, some games have this like where you basically have a choice of going left or right. And then one way will push you forward in the game, then can't go back and go to the other way. So like your gatekeeping, I think, because I like to explore the map, and I found I inadvertently pushed the story forward without actually completely searching an area. I got slightly frustrated with that. The puzzles in it were really good. I really enjoyed the puzzles. Some of them were extremely inventive, using the controller in ways I've never had to do it before. I think there's stuff that came out for PlayStation 4, having the controller trying to keep it level and actually using the 6-axis type thing. But I found that really, really good. Annoying at the start until I got used to it, but it was really good. I did get stuck in the scenery a couple of times, and the camera just started spinning on me. A few bugs, but other than that, when the game flowed, it really flowed really well. There's a scene where you're on a pig, a hog of war. You have to move a lot, going along, and it moved really fast. It was really good. And a couple of other puzzles where you're like a ball rolling downhill, and they really, really were brilliant. The last few puzzles, last couple of scenes were excellent. They became really inventive again with the puzzles. Overall, I really enjoyed that game. I thought it was good. But yeah, I think you mentioned last time the first couple of chapters or sections in the game were tutorial, and they're really, really tight, not open. But when you progress further in the game, it does become much more open, and it's really quite good. But I feel like I've lost sections now because I didn't get to explore parts because I've progressed the story and wasn't able to go back. And that type of thing frustrates me in games. I want to be told, like, if you go any further, you can't go back. It didn't happen. But overall, a really good game. I'm glad I played it. And another one off the backlog.
Yeah, I'm almost there. So I reckon I'm about 60%. I'm looking forward to getting the end of it. I think, as per to both of you, I just really enjoy playing it. It's not been a chore at all. It's just been really nice, and just the inventive nature of it just keeps you wanting to play it more, sort of thing. Like, I've been flying on paper airplanes and stuff recently, and kind of, like you say, flicking like drums to fire yourself around. It's just
Yes, yeah.
whoever sat in there and done all that stuff. It's just it really is genuinely is what they've done. Just really great little game. I'm looking forward to finishing.
I think, in fairness, and probably if all of us potentially, if we hadn't been doing the Year of Shame challenge, I think that would have been a game that had never been finished or I'll gone back to. And it's surprisingly good. If that was released today, I still think it'd get a good write up.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I first played it when I had the PS Vita version of it, and I played again about 50-60% of it, and then I sold my Vita and never got the end of it. And they announced a full console release, and I was like, oh, I've got to get that. I think I did. I think I bought a physical copy of it, which I then sold, and then they gave it away on whatever it was, Plus, however many years ago, and it's just sat there since with me going like, I played that. I should play that. That's as per everything normally for me, to be honest. But yeah, I completely agree. I don't think I would have got sort of thinking, you know what, I should give us a stab now. There's a reason to do it.
I think I'm going to find a lot of good games. I think my outlook on playing video games is going to change after this year, and to appreciate what you have. You know, something new doesn't mean it's better than what you've already got, really.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So have you got any games planned for the forthcoming month? Have you got anything you think you might want to play?
They've started Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh yes, that's meant to be very good. I've played a bit of it.
Yeah, I found it slightly confusing, but yeah, as I do a lot of games, so I'll have to play more. But that's the first game I started recently. I think what else? That's about the only thing I started. Yeah, can't think of anything else with that, and I've just been playing more Returnal. But that's
Love the punishment.
Yeah, so I'm going to restart Journey, and I'll try to play Coffee Talk as well. I did try. Have you ever played The Procession to Calvary?
I can't say I have.
Have you ever played that game?
No.
I have it on Steam. It's sort of an adventure game, point and click adventure game. It's got a really weird art style, a bit like the Monty Python animation type thing. But I really, really want to like the game. Like every time I play it, I just get annoyed and upset with it. I looked at the guide and I thought, if I just follow the guide, I'm not really playing the game. So I don't know, I might bin that game off altogether. I might try it one more time and then bin it if I don't like it. But I think Journey and Coffee Talk, and I need to play more of Mass Effect 1 and progress the story. But yeah, that's about it really. That's an Obra Dinn. That hopefully, and if we do a randomizer, that'll be it then for the next month. How about you, Ben?
Just trying to have a look what I've got in here that I've been playing on recently. I've got I started Mortal Kombat 1. I bought that years ago, but ages ago when it was cheap on CD keys for the PC, which was the last Mortal Kombat to come out. I did actually start playing that. I probably put about 45 minutes into the story mode on it. Actually, tell a lie, it says them 74 minutes. Wow, okay. So I've played the first kind of few sections of that, but it is just literally a story mode. I think it's, again, not massive, but I feel I owe myself to get through it. We got RoboCop Rogue City.
Excellent.
Give it a go.
It's excellent.
Is it? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool, and I love RoboCop. So, I mean...
It's very, very good.
So that's those two. And I think Hot Wheels Unleashed, I've realised I'm a good proportion through. I think I put, that was the original one. I'm at 7.5 hours on that, and that runs beautifully on the deck as well. So I'm just lifting stuff up to play. I'll start playing through things. So on top of that, which I'm now going to start, and I'm determined to play that. I think I owe it.
Very good.
It's a busy month. I don't think I'll get through all that, but I mean, it's going to keep things interesting for the next month.
Absolutely. I'm going to take a look at what I may have 9/10 finished, because there's a good few games that I've 8/10, 9/10 finished, which I reckon I just need to put them to bed, really. Such as Red Dead Redemption 2. I must be a good chunk, a massive chunk of the way through that story. I wouldn't mind finishing Mass Effect 3, then I can say I've done all the three Mass Effects, done the three Mass Effects games, as the fourth one, isn't there, obviously, but no one seems to want to play that one. But other than that, I'm not sure what else I'm going to play. I'm going to definitely dip into some games that I've nearly finished, try and get them off my list. Because there's too many of them games where you start them and never finish them, which isn't ideal, really. As you were mentioning, this particular game we were talking about, we've got a list of games, haven't we, which we're going to put into some kind of randomizer.
Yeah.
It is a selection of games that all of us have, that none of us have finished or played. So so did you do the randomizer on that one, Ben?
I did, yeah. We got 6 games in there we've got so far that we've dug out from our piles. We've got Ollie 2, which is Welcome to Ollywood, whoever it's called. Little Nightmares 2, Sackboy's Big Adventure, Child of Light, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and Overcooked. So we've got those, and we do in fact have a randomizer. So we've all got access to it. Who wants to do the honours on that?
Go for it. Go for it.
Have a stab. Right. Spinning, and that has stopped on probably the biggest one out of the lot, which is Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Oh, wow.
I'm quite excited about that.
Yeah, that's the game I would want to play.
Maybe I'll just have to delete Spider-Man now and install that on the deck instead, I think.
Yes, yeah. Okay, that's cool. So that's game for next month. Kena. Cool.
I think I've played about 2 or 3 hours of it, like just unlike the opening part. I think I was stuck on a particular bit for some reason. It's one of them sorts of games where the areas open up, they're like roadblocked. Fantastic. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's a game to enjoy for sure. It's latest style graphics, modern game. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I look forward to playing that. That'll be a pleasure.
Well, how long the play time is? Obviously, you found out from Tearaway that's probably not correct. I reckon it's about a 10 to 14 hour game.
Yeah.
I find add 50% on again. I find to talk about these 10 to 14 hour things. If you know what you're doing, probably. But the problem is with these games, it's not a problem. The best thing about them is actually the adventure, and you can go for a wander around and see what's going off in other directions. Yeah, definitely.
Second, there's a little village and there's some kind of weird side quest game I can start playing on, like an arcade game, or I'm stuffed for like 2 or 3 hours then, so that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, we'll talk about little arcadey sort of games. That's another game I might actually play. Is the last Final Fantasy Rebirth, and that's got lots of like side games and such like in there, and maybe a third of the way through, which is still a good chunk because it's still a big game. So yeah, I might give that a shot.
Pretty lovely.
You mentioned that how long to beat for Kena. According to the website How Long to Beat, Returnal is 22 hours. I just was checking my my database of games I've got. I took 225 hours.
I was about to say they didn't miss typing to weeks or something, did they, or not? I mean,
okay. Oh my god, 200 hours, over 200 hours in that game. Oh shit, I'm so crap at games.
No, to say consolation, I'm 600 and something hours, I think, nearly Forza Horizon 5. That's a racing game.
That's coming out on PlayStation next month or the month after.
Yes, it is.
April, yeah. Yeah, crazy.
That's a big thing, actually. I'm surprised we didn't cover that earlier on. That's a big thing to have something like that coming out on another format. It's interesting stuff. Yeah,
I don't know what Xbox are doing with their games, that everything is an Xbox. Like, my fridge is an Xbox or whatever. I don't know what they said in the advert, but shoving all the games day one over onto not day one, but over the PlayStation, even if it's after 6 months or a year, and not keeping them exclusive, means I have no real reason to buy an Xbox.
I don't think they want to buy an Xbox.
Hopefully, I will buy a PC at some stage, but I have no real reason to go into the Xbox ecosystem at all now. So I don't know what they're doing. I know they're becoming a publisher, it looks like.
Yeah, it'll be a streaming platform is what it is. Literally, you have a television with the Xbox app in it, which we've already got, and you'll just stream a catalogue no matter what platform you're on.
Yeah, I reckon that they're talking about a handheld from Xbox, aren't they? Something along the lines of the Steam thing, but
it's one place they never got, is it?
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy because they're coming over to PlayStation.
Yeah.
But, it's going to be frustration for people who bought Xboxes and don't have a PlayStation, so you're not getting one set of exclusives. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's me for next month.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, looking forward to that. So Kena Bridge of Spirits it is then. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
Legend.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. We've got some questions as well. I'm not sure if you guys want to read them out.
I haven't got them in front of me.
Let me just grab them up quick. So, right, new month. There we go. Right. So, Rob Normal has asked, what are your top 3 gaming devices of all time? Do you want to start us with that, Brian?
Okay, gaming devices. Current all-time PlayStation 5. I really think it's cool. Great. I've had no problems with that, and handles everything, so that's great. I love that. Going back, is it Amiga 1200?
Yeah. The highest spec one.
Yeah, we had one of those when I was a kid. It wouldn't have been when it came out first, a few years later, because we weren't exactly wealthy, but that was really cool. And PlayStation 1 was the console that got me back into gaming.
Yeah, I think that's...
Resi Evil. But yeah, I'm not really... I've never had any handheld devices, so I can't really talk about those. Yeah, so I think it's just PlayStation 1, the Amiga, and the PlayStation 5, the current one. I'm in love with this PlayStation 5. I love the rumble and the controller and stuff. It's great. But yeah, I can't think of anything else. I wasn't looking forward to this question. I saw it there. I thought, oh, shit, I don't know how to answer this question.
It's difficult. I think the problem is the more consoles you've had and more things you've played on, it just makes it so much more difficult. I mean, I think it's one of these things I keep thinking of because like you have so many consoles and you have the same as I do that it's sort of like, okay, where do I draw a line on this?
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping I was going to be first so I could actually try and copy some of your guys' answers. But so, Paul, do you want to go next?
Sure. Well, it has to be really like my first love, really, which has got to be the ZX Spectrum 48K rubber keyed. I mean, that for me obviously was the pinnacle of gaming at the time. And the amount of different games that were coming out when everything was kind of fresh and new. Yeah, amazing. The ZX Spectrum. I'll be forever in its debt. And Sir Clive Sinclair. And obviously the next one is the Commodore Amiga. I had a 500 originally, and then I bought a 1200. And that's the first computer I had with a hard drive in it, which was quite a phenomenal thing, considering I was used to tapes and discs for a number of years, and to just press a button and to load up a game on a hard drive used to be like a phenomenal. It was like a lightning speed. Same as Brian on this one, PlayStation 5 really. I think it kind of gives me everything that I was hoping from a console. You know, you've got the minimum in general on most games of 60 frames per second, which is generally, I feel, the minimum a game should run at really 60 frames per second. And obviously you've got, the upscaling it does and such like, and all the modern games that are available on it. Obviously it's the pinnacle of PlayStation at the moment. And obviously I look forward to PlayStation 6 as well.
I sat and thought long and hard about this. This came up and I'm like, you swine, how dare you ask this question? Impossible, nearly. But I kind of taken it from a perspective of like how much a system has made difference to me kind of over my lifetime sort of thing, I suppose, really. So the one that comes literally top of the list straight away is the Nintendo 64. I have so many memories of great games, of doing like playing games with friends, with stuff we still do now. So, I mean, I still have LAN parties at friends' house and host them here. Phenomenal. And I think the N64 just gave me so much. Kind of like you said to the Specky, I got a debt, so that's my first one. The other one after that is probably the easiest. I got one release day. It was the first console I ever bought with my own money. I saved up for 6 months. It started a love affair with PlayStation for me, and I grew up just completely obsessed, mind-blowing. So that comes there. The next one and the last one is really difficult. Mega Drive was the first console my parents bought us. So you went from kind of 4-color on-screen Spectrum and our little tiny black and white. And Streets of Rage 2 is one of my favorites. Literally completed it again a couple of days. That console just unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Right, so the other question we had was from Stuart Ramage. Apologies if I say your surname wrong. His was, what game or platform do you never think got the level of love that wants to go first on that one? Do you want to go first, Paul?
Yeah, sure. I've got one in mind, actually. I had to give it a little bit of thought. And I would say probably the Atari Jaguar. It was actually relatively powerful for its time. And that was my proper, real first introduction to first-person shooters. It had Wolfenstein on there and Doom. And generally speaking, to play those two games, you'd have had to really have had a PC, which could have been out of a lot of people's price range at the time. And even then, you'd need a relatively, high-end-ish PC to play Doom or Wolfenstein. I mean, it'll play on pretty much anything, but your frame rate could be absolutely, terrible. I think it came out at a time when there was a lot of different little systems coming out that didn't quite hit the mark. Like the Atari Lynx, which was a very good handheld back in its day, didn't quite hit the mark, not for people. And same with the Dreamcast. I think that came out at a similar sort of time as well. It just didn't quite do it, really. It was ahead of its time, was Dreamcast, for sure. But yeah, and another thing, I remember seeing the Atari Jaguar when it was in like the Edge magazine, and they had a picture of a CD-ROM add-on you could get for it, and it made it look like it was like a toilet seat. The way it just sort of went up and down on it, like a toilet seat hinge. Yeah. But yeah, I think the Atari Jaguar, based on just playing them two games, Wolfenstein and Doom, which I was obsessed with at the time because they were a whole new concept, really, because coming from a Commodore Amiga to that kind of game, the Amiga couldn't really quite do that kind of game. It did try to release a few first-person shooters, but they were never to that kind of level, really.
Yeah, Gloom. The Amiga had Gloom, wasn't it, or something, but it was never that good.
No, it was. I mean, I think it was starting to push the Amiga to its limits, where I think it was on like a really smallish window as well. So it was almost like playing like a Spectrum game, but on like obviously most Spectrum games had a border on them. So yeah, it's absolutely excellent, really.
It was a good console. It was a good console.
For me, I've not been a console gamer, so I can't really talk about platforms not being loved. Game-wise, my favorite game that I mentioned last time, Mirror's Edge, never got really. And then Mirror's Edge 2, or the reboot, came out. Neither of them got set the world alight, even though I loved both of them and thought they should be the top games. I can't think of anything else. There's a game, an old game, No One Lives Forever.
Oh, yeah. It was the
I would
first
love to
person
see
shooter, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Love to see that come back and get more love, because it was funny. It was a bit like you're a spy, first-person shooter, a spy game, but it was if you remember a really, really old TV show called Get Smart. So that it was based on that type of thing, that type of humor. It was really, really good. There's No One Lives Forever, and a second one, number 2. I'd love to see that come back. But I think, as far as I know, I looked into it a while ago, and nobody knows who owns the rights to the game. So no developer will go near it, unfortunately. I think that's about there. I'd love to see get more love.
Weirdly enough, my neighbour was throwing out a load of old PC discs, I think the end of last year, and he came around with one of those banana crates. Do you want anything out of this? And there was a few of that in there. The CD itself, double CD, and I've got it, and I've got a 3DFX Voodoo 2 in my old Pentium build I've done, and it runs beautifully in 3DFX. I've never played this. I've completely forgotten about it, and now I have a go at this. I actually installed it a couple of months back, but didn't get a chance to start playing it. It kind of was in my bit of put a new hard drive in and installed all the games I could in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, how weird that's come up.
Yeah, I love that game.
So I think, what am I thinking of? For my one, this one actually is I can kind of had to get my way on the gaming devices. I think the Dreamcast does get my one, as you just said as well, Paul. It was an exceptional machine, which really didn't succeed in Europe at all. If you go to Japan, you got to take a suitcase with you if you own a Dreamcast. Go into the second-hand shop, buy every game. And it was such a great console. It was 4-player. It was genuinely the fastest, most powerful thing I'd ever seen when it came out. But it just did stuff wrong. Good as a PS2, but they just made dumb decisions. But it's just such a phenomenal console. It was just great at everything it did. I have so many great memories. I have a monstrous Dreamcast collection because I'm just obsessed with it. I think I've got 50, 60 box games for mine upstairs somewhere. And there was just so many cool games on it. Shenmue, the Echo remake, brilliant. Daytona, they made, and then the 4-player games like Power Stone games, awesome. I remember a friend got one release day just thinking this is the coolest. So yeah, I think it deserves so much more love than it ever got, especially in Europe.
Yeah, fantastic console, like you say. I think it came out like an in-betweeny times, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like nowadays, the Xbox comes out when the PlayStation comes out, or very, very similar. Perhaps there was just too many of the systems. It just wasn't, the people wasn't quite ready to invest in a new system again. It was just the wrong time.
I think, it destroyed the Jaguar, destroyed the N64, the PlayStation 1, everything else at the time was just left in its wake. There was nothing that was as far. And then it was the PlayStation 2 come out and you're like, actually, that's not much better.
But thankfully, Sega's still around. I mean, it could have been one of them things that could have potentially bankrupted a company.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, because they have to put a lot of money into that hardware, hoping that the people will buy the software, obviously, and they get a cut from all the software to make the money back on it to some degree.
I think it nailed in the coffin them as far as a hardware man, because they just never really came back from it failing outside of Japan, sort of thing, as a commercial product anyway. Not as a console, it was brilliant, but as commercially it just failed them, and they couldn't get they didn't have Electronic Arts either from memory, did they? Which is why you didn't get FIFA on it and why it failed. I like FIFA at all. But yeah, it's sad really. It's also the reason they're still here, because they made enough from it to survive and turn into a software house. Thanks, Dreamcast.
I guess that brings us almost pretty much to the end of the show. Almost.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone got the emails and such, like how they can contact us?
I always forget this one. Sorry, Brian, I'm looking at you, my friend.
I've no idea. I made it up last week.
It's so good last time.
Was it yearshame@gmail.com? That must be it. It sounds right. Twitter's @yearshame. We're just looking for yearshame. Facebook, you should be able to find it. It's part of the main group. And what else? I was thinking we should have a Patreon or whatever type of thing where you can get money. Because all the podcasts, they're all pumping their Patreon. I don't know what they give us the money for, because it's probably not for the content of the podcast, and we're not going to be using the money towards buying new games.
Defeats the object slightly.
Yeah, I was trying to think of levels that we have. The $20 a month level of balls deep. The the $1 a month of just in and that type of thing. I don't know what to do in between, but yeah, I don't know any other housekeeping, unfortunately. So at the moment, we haven't got a Patreon. You can give money to me on OnlyFans if you want. Other than that, unfortunately, that's all our housekeeping.
Well, yes, talking of stripping, I mean, you never know, we might get Ben on there. He's been doing a bit of wallpaper stripping and paint stripping by the sounds of it.
It's the only stripping I am good at. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
No one needs the other type.
Right, fantastic.
I did set up an OnlyFans many years ago. Must be 2021. I was before the Steam Deck came out. I was like, I've got as a joke for another podcast that has since gone, by the way. But I'll make loads of money for the Steam Deck. And I've got. You can try and search me on OnlyFans and see if you can find it. It's just there's no content on there, unfortunately. There's just words. But yeah.
This is where you gain about 1,000 subscribers overnight. Right?
That's the problem. If you mention OnlyFans on Twitter, you get so many follows from all the porn bots. So no, I had to stop mentioning that I had this set up.
I was watching the ITV show, they call it This Morning, the chat show. And there was a girl on there, or a woman, and what she does, she had her OnlyFans sort of page. And what she does is she goes for a jog in the morning wearing like this big rubber suit sort of thing, like a sweatsuit, like if you wanted to lose weight, you'd wear one. So it's like, so you like really sweat a lot. And she sells the sweat and she gets loads of money. She like sells little vials of it. And she's like, she's bought 3 or 4 houses recently. She's done all kinds of stuff, So
Jesus. Anybody wants to buy sweat, give me a call during the summer here. I've got fucking, it's just pouring at me. You mentioned earlier about in the summer it's time to go out. In the summer I'm sat underneath the aircon above my head. It's just too fucking hot here.
Yeah, well, as you know, in England, I mean, other than generally in offices and such like, or if you're really posh, most people don't have an air con, do they really? It's just not the done thing in England.
Yeah.
So
no, you can't live here without it, unfortunately.
Absolutely. So shall we say our goodbyes?
Indeed. Let's get to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just in case people didn't realise, we're recording it. It's 1:30 our side. What time is it for you in Japan, Brian?
It's now just 10:30 in the morning. Is it 10:30?
10:30.
10:30 in the morning. I've been up since 6:30.
Wow.
Getting ready for this quality content with my 7-Eleven coffee that I went down to the Combini to get.
Very good. So I guess who's hosting next time? It'll be Ben. I guess it's back to you.
Back to me. Yep. Get my dulcet tones for another session.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right then, so we'll say our goodbyes. So it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and listening. Take care of yourselves.
All the best.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.